Hey everybody, I just want to welcome you to the Northern Home Garage. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate it. If you haven't been here before, check out some videos. I do a lot of pretty cool stuff, at least stuff I think is cool. Today is something not so cool, something I'm not too excited to do. I have to do hub and bearings on the 2008 Avalanche that we have. Went camping with it for the first time in probably 3 years. A couple weekends ago, and within a few kilometers from home, front hub started to make some noise. Now I've known it's needed a hub for probably a year or so and just haven't got around to it. And because I'm not sure which side it is, I got two of them because that's how I roll. So I've got the Quickjacks out today. I have not had the Avalanche on the Quickjacks yet, so I'm kind of excited to see how that works. I think I have enough roof clearance. We're going to find out. So I'm going to bring that sucker in, and it's going to get wet in here because it's been pouring rain for probably 4 hours. So it's pretty wet. So we're going to go out there. I'm going to drive it in, get it set up on these Quickjacks, and let's get those front wheels off. Got it up on the jacks, but we're having a small malfunction here. It was leaking from this fitting right here, so I'm not sure now if it's leaking from over here or if it was leaking from the hose. So we're going to clean this mess up, get this back up, and try it again. We're all good now for some particular reason. So we have it up, and first time I get it in, but not too much room up there, that's for sure. I would probably not be able to get it onto the second locks. But that's all right. I have lots of room right now. Got her up. She's locked down. And pretty happy with this. So let's get to these guys. Well, I'm an idiot. I know better than to use an impact on these security locks for these vehicles. This thing has been on the vehicle since 2009, and I have never, not once, ever used an impact on these. I've always broken them free with my bar first because I know these fall apart. So yeah, I guess that'll be the end of today's video. Today's video is going to turn into shifter cable video, which I wasn't going to do today, but seeing as I already got it up on the jack, so I don't have the proper tools to remove that wheel lock. So my brain was going, I thought of maybe welding a nut to the outside of the lock, and then, just bad stuff's going to happen. So I'm going to do one of two things. I have the registration card for this. I'm either going to order another lock, or maybe I'll go see if I can get a reverse threaded socket and has little teeth on it, bite it off and then put a standard wheel nut back on. But all right, let's get to that shifter cable for now. But this video is going to continue within seconds by the magic of video editing. This hub video continues right now. Here we are, 2 or 3 days later, after that wheel nut fiasco, where I went ahead and I used the impact on my locking key, which I've never done before, and I broke it. So that kind of put a stop to that. So we did another video in the meantime, but enough said about that. So what I've done is I've gone out and I have purchased a nut extracting tool, and this will slide over top and twist it off. If I were to send away for the key, it was about $39 US plus shipping. By the time I got the key here, 2 to 3 weeks, probably in it for about $60, $70. So for $29.99 Canadian at Canadian Tire, I got this really cool extraction set. Couldn't find the metric set, of course, they were out of them. I have the standard set. I think that the 5/16 is going to fit on the top of that nut. I just tested it quickly. It's going to be tight, but we'll give it a shot. And failing that, instead of going out and purchasing 4 regular wheel nuts to replace the locks that I'm going to be taking off, I've decided to go with another lock kit for the pickup trucks. And here it is here. This was $29. And the reason why I spent $29 on this locking nut set was because each individual long shanked accessory wheel nuts for the General Motors is $17.99 each. That's like almost $80, and I wasn't going to do that. So the tool, which I'll have forever now, and the locking nut kit with a new key and registration card cost me under $80. Win-win. Win-win-win. Win. And my wife doesn't know that now I have a nut extracting toolkit. Well, it's actually the next day, because last night I took these wheel nuts off. It was fairly late. By the time I was done, it was probably 9:30, 10 o'clock. And I go to work during the day, so it's a little tough. So there is a reason why they call these nut extractors, and why I struggled with it so much. And the reason is, this is not your standard nut. These are designed to grip onto a 6-sided nut, where this is a round cylinder, and that didn't work very well. So as you saw, I was able to take the grinder, and I was able to grind some little slots in that guy right there. And lo and behold, boom, off it comes. So I'm rejuvenated. I just had supper. We're going to start taking this side apart. I was going to start with the driver's side. I'm going to continue with the driver's side, because that's the side I think is making the noise. This is a time-consuming job. A lot to take apart here. So let's stop wasting time. 7:20. Let's get at it. automotive gods are not with me on this job. First of all, couldn't get the caliper mounting bracket bolts off, stripped one of those. My own stupidity, but I stripped it. Second, couldn't get the brake rotor retaining screw off, so I broke my T30 Torx, and my other T30 Torx is broken, so I drilled it. Couldn't get the rotor off without heating it, banging it, and then using a 10 mil bolt in the center because I need to reuse those rotors. I'm not replacing those. And now I don't have my socket for the axle nut. I've looked everywhere. So now I got to get one of those. This is going to be the longest video I've ever had. Well, spread out wise, that is. All right, so what is this now? Day 4, 5, in around there. Today I went out and I purchased a new drive axle because I noticed that the boot on this one was popped off once again. We've already replaced the boot once because it was torn. We did that probably a couple of years ago. Notice it's popped off. There's grease everywhere. I'm not going to fight with it and replace the boot again. For $88, I'm going to replace the whole axle. So we're going to be doing that when we have the hub off. And I also went out today because I could not find it, because it was missing. I bought myself another 36 mil socket to get that nut off. So that goes on this guy right there. And while I was there, I got myself a new hub cleaning kit and $7. And a new swivel, 1/2-inch swivel, because mine's missing with the socket. So not sure what happened to it, but anyway, so I have the tools I need now to get that axle off, I hope. So let's get at it. Well, here's where we're at. So I have disconnected the bolts on the back of the axle shaft. If you guys can see back there. All right, so there's the axle shaft bolts. So I just had to break them free. My impact is not strong enough. I just don't have strong enough tools here in the garage to break rust free and stuff. So those, I fought with those a little bit. So I'll put this light back down here. All right, also the axle nut, I had to heat this up a little bit because my impact is not strong enough. And now where I'm at now is to pull this axle shaft out, we're going to need to disconnect the link kit right here. This is the stabilizer shaft link. Then I'm also going to have to, and this I'm really nervous about, I'm going to have to disconnect my shock and push it back. It says to take it right out, but I think I can probably squeeze it through if I can pull it back. And all this is just to get the axle shaft out. And if you see on there, I have a Rough Rider leveling kit. And I remember installing it was a pain in the butt. We had to lower the, disconnect the lower control arm because we couldn't get it in. So I might be stuck disconnecting the lower ball joint and pulling the control arm down to get that back in. But that's definitely got to come off to get that axle shaft out of there. And as you can see, I got grease all over the place. That's why I'm replacing it. So we're no closer than we were yesterday or the day before to just getting the hub off. And I've gone and stripped the bolt head at the bottom of the stabilizer shaft link. So I'm going to have to now cut that off and replace it with a new one. But that's how it goes.
I tell you, this is really escalating. So here you'll see I took the strut assembly off. So there's 3 18mm nuts on the top of the tower there. And this is a tool I normally don't mess around with. It's a really cheap spring compressor that I bought from something similar to Harbor Freight, but it was Princess Auto. Not too fussy about these. I'm out of breath because this was heavy. Anyway, what I did is I compressed it because, like I said, I had the leveling kit on the truck, and it took everything for us on a hoist to get those leveling kits in. So I compressed the spring so I could push the shock up enough to slide the piece out, and that seemed to work pretty well. So now we're going to be back over here. All this just to change a hub, guys. And then noticing the axle. So now we have lots of room. Here's where the strut assembly was. And you can see now that the axle will just fall right out. Okay, maybe not fall right out, but this axle with a little prise should fall out the bottom. Let's give that a shot. Some weight reduction, and we have everything off. Now we should be able to get the hub off, I hope.
Alright, so this was quite a challenge, mainly because I can't lay underneath the vehicle and swing, so it was tough, and I'm not gonna lie, I was probably an hour on this heating the hub with just a propane torch. I didn't take out the oxyacetylene torches. Number one, I'm not very comfortable using them. Number two, I didn't want to start a fire because there's lots of grease and stuff back there, but yeah, I'm not really comfortable with those torches. Probably need somebody to show me how to use them properly. I have used them in the past, but anyway. So here's the rear dust shield, and it is not in the best of shape. As you can see, there has been some weight reduction to that. So I'm going to price that out at the dealer tomorrow. Hopefully it's not too expensive, and hopefully they have it in stock. And I beat the living crap out of this guy to get it off. And finally it did come off. Doesn't appear I damaged any of the mating surface here. Well, maybe up there I might have nicked it when I came in with a chisel to loosen it, but we'll file that back down. No worries there. And I'm just going to take my drill right here, and we're just going to be cleaning this up. And I'm glad I didn't have to take the knuckle off. I was almost there. I was, okay, I'm taking the knuckle off, and if I was taking the knuckle off, then I was more than likely replacing a tie rod end because there's no threads left there. The lower ball joint looked okay. Upper ball joint nut looked okay as well, but I was going to take it out, put it in a vise, and pound the crap out of it. So we have it off. Dust shield's there. I'm just going to clean this for tonight. It's already about 11 o'clock. And pretty well done. So there you go. That's what, night number 4? See, things don't always go perfect, right?
All right, so today we actually have to start getting this stuff back together. The Avalanche has been in the garage now over a week, and I need my garage space back. So I just mounted the hub on there, and I just put the bolts in through the back. Now, can't buy this plate because it's discontinued, so not quite sure. I'm going to put the old one back on for now, and worst comes to worst, if down the road I need to replace it, I'll do that. So we do have a pile of parts sitting over there that are going to have to go back on. So why don't we get started?
All right, so here we are. She's all back together. Not sure how much of that we caught on the little GoPro because the battery did die. But so we got the brake rotor on, we got our caliper bracket back on, caliper, brake pads, everything went together nicely. Not sure if you saw in the video that we'll find out eventually, but I did have to tie strap this over to the transfer case and pull it over. And that's simply because I have on here, I have a leveling kit, and I remember putting it on a number of years back, and we had to disconnect all the lower control arm and the lower ball joint and all that stuff. So I was lucky enough that I was able to, I had my spring compressor, I was able to compress the spring, and I had the nuts up on the top loose, and I was able to tie strap the shock absorber over to the transfer case, and I was able to get underneath with the bar, push up. I put the bolts into the actual leveling kit, that thing right there. And then I was able to slide the absorber over, and that went in okay. Everything else seems to be fine. We got this sucker tightened down. This is, the torque on this is heavier than I am. It's 177 foot-pounds, so that was pretty tight. I was able to save the brake rotor. The brake pads were still in really good shape. Caliper seems to be all right. Not quite sure until we take it out for a drive. I was able to clean up the brake pads. I did have a rust ridge on the back of the rotor, and now we just got to put the wheel back on and take it for a test drive. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That is a hub and bearing, which turned into an actual shifter cable video because of the wheel locks. Turned into a how to remove wheel locks when you break the key. Turned into how to replace an axle shaft, which also turned into how to replace a stabilizer link. And you know, when vehicles are this old, stuff like that happens. It just kind of snowballs. I really don't want to take a chance with trying to reassemble old stuff. So the parts are fairly cheap for this unit. So I went out and spent the no special tools. It was all hand tools. I used the impact for a couple of things that were really, really tight. Impact on rusty bolts, you know, it's a 50-50 shot. It either strips it or breaks it, you know. So did that in my home garage. Yeah, it took me about a week, you know, breaking things and then ordering stuff and replacing it and getting it. But so now we're gonna throw the tire back on. I'm gonna take it for a ride. And once again, if you like what you see here, press the subscribe button. I got more stuff coming. I actually have a electric trolling motor that I've been meaning to get to for the whole summer. I just haven't had a chance. Real busy. We gotta take holidays too, right? I hope everything helped you here. So don't forget that if I can do it, anybody can do it. Ask my wife. I'm not that bright. See you next time.